Hi, welcome back to my studio. I'm Jen, and I'm the creator, artist, and small business owner behind Fructus Illustrations. Today, I want to bring you to work with me to give you a little glimpse of what it's like to run an art business day to day from home. Because if there's any one thing that I've learned in the nearly 3 years of self-employment, is that no 2 days are ever the same. So, whether I'm designing new products, planning new projects, or handling normal business operations, each day brings a new set of tasks and sometimes challenges that I have to face. There are many different hats that I have to wear to run my business, and I've had to develop all kinds of skills to stay productive and just to keep things running smoothly. So I thought I'd bring you along for a day in my life to share how I manage the balance between creative work and my business responsibilities. So if you're interested, let's dive right in and get our day started. Every day as an artist and as a small business owner always looks a little bit different, as I've mentioned. But I found that having a routine really helps me stay organized and prepared, even when my to-do lists are constantly changing. So to keep my days on track, each morning I like to open up and review my planners to see what I need to focus on and get ready for whatever the day might bring. I actually use two different types of planners: a digital planner for long-term goal planning, idea tracking, and for content creation planning / scheduling, and a physical planner for my daily tasks and to-do list. I prefer using Notion as a digital planner to map out future projects, move things around as needed, and just to jot down ideas that I can come back to later. My Hobonichi planner, on the other hand, is where I list out each day's tasks and priorities. Basically, I write down all the things that I want to accomplish by the end of the day. And when I am reviewing my planners, I also like to define what are my daily or weekly goals for both creative work and business tasks. I make sure I separate tasks that need immediate attention, like emails, customer support, etc., from important but more flexible projects like designing a new coloring book, for instance, which might take a bit longer to complete. And so, once I have a sense of my day's priorities and have a to-do list written down, I also like to do some admin work too, since I'm already sitting at my desk with my computer open. This mostly means, checking my emails and adding any new deadlines or deliverables immediately to my planner, so nothing gets lost within the cracks. I found that grouping or batching similar tasks together really helps me keep a very steady workflow, since it avoids having to, constantly switch gears, which can be distracting. So checking my email with my planner is a great way for me to start the day off right. Batching similar tasks is something that has been a really big part of my workflow. And another example of how I do this is by dedicating specific days for particular types of work. For instance, throughout the week, I like to quickly review any new orders to check if I have all the items in stock. Since I still make most of my stickers at home, sometimes I'll find that I need to print and cut a few designs. And so, if that's the case, I add these items to a list and wait until Sunday to make them, because this is my dedicated day for packing orders. Having a set or, consistent day in the week for this lets me complete everything in one focused session. Grouping tasks and assigning days for specific work has actually made a big difference for me. It helps me get into a nice little rhythm, which is essential because constantly switching between different types of tasks can be mentally exhausting. When I'm able to, sit down and focus on one kind of work and just stay there, I find that I'm much more productive and it's easier to get started and maintain a momentum. So after a bit of planning and catching up on emails, I am ready to dive into some creative work, which is to start sketching ideas for my next coloring book and begin that process again. But before I jump straight into that, I always like to warm up with some quick doodles in one of my sketchbooks. The intention with this isn't to create anything polished or finished, but it's just a fun way to loosen up, my mind and my hand. For me, it's really all about easing into the creative process. Without a warm-up, I sometimes can find myself feeling frustrated if my art doesn't, immediately flow right away. So a quick 10 minutes or so of scribbling and doodling in my sketchbooks helps me settle in and gets me in the right headspace. which makes my main art project more enjoyable and focused. And I found that warming up makes a really noticeable difference, especially if it's been a few days since I last sat down to create. If you've been following me and my small business journey, you know that my coloring books are my absolute favorite creations as an artist. Over the past year, I have completed my first seasonal theme series of coloring books. So there's a fall, winter, spring, and most recently summer, wrapping up a collection of art that I'm so proud of. And so I'm really excited to start on the next book that I plan to officially release in January. And now, as I am starting working on this next coloring book, I've also been reflecting on my past projects because I know that technically, if I really wanted to, I could finish a book in about a month if I really hunker down and focus all of my energy on it. But realistically, that approach is unsustainable, and it greatly risks taking the joy out of the process that I enjoy so much. I want to keep creating coloring books for as long as I can, and so I am prioritizing finding a healthier approach that can keep me inspired, avoids burnout, and isn't going to feel rushed. Recently, I've been reviewing my process and thinking of ways to improve it. Because I love the results that I've achieved with my previous books, but I felt that there were aspects that could be smoother or at least more balanced. And so to find a little bit of guidance on how to approach this, I turned to Skillshare, the sponsor of today's video, and one of my favorite learning resources. Skillshare is an amazing online learning community with thousands of classes in areas like illustration, graphic design, marketing, productivity, and so much more. It is a fantastic resource if you're looking to grow as an artist, a small business owner, or a content creator. With classes for every level from beginner to advanced, Skillshare has been incredibly helpful in my own journey, and so I know it can be for you too. One class that I've recently completed was called Just Start, 5 exercises that lead to big wins. It's short, about a 20-minute class, but it is very packed with tips that I have already been able to apply immediately. The biggest insight for me was recognizing that I tend to do what is called binge working, and it's where I, dive super intensely into a project, and I get sucked into it and I keep going for hours every day until it's finished. And that was my experience with my previous coloring books. And I think I did that because I was just so excited to finish it and I had these ideas kind of just pouring out. But what I realize now is that it's not sustainable, and I think that this can lead to burnout, which is something that I'm trying to avoid. One tip from the class that really resonated with me was to schedule regular perspective meetings with myself. These are basically sessions where I can check in with myself and plan and reflect on my progress. During each of these sessions, I'll ask myself questions like, what's working? What direction am I headed towards? What could be improved? These are great questions that I should definitely ask and consider because I often sense that something could be better in my approach or my process, but I don't always take the time to reflect and then make intentional changes. So moving forward, I want to make these check-ins a habit after each project, whether it's for my coloring books, shop update, or whatever it is that I'm working on, because my goal is to keep creating art that I love and sharing it with others for as long as I'm able to. This work brings me absolute happiness every single day, and I want to sustain that joy for as long as possible. And so, if you're like me and are looking to strengthen your skills or get guidance on your creative business journey, Skillshare is offering a 1-month free trial for the first 500 people who use the link in my description to sign up. This is a great opportunity to explore what they offer and get started today for free. So, thank you again to Skillshare for their continued support of the channel. Now let's move on to the rest of the day. After sketching and planning for my coloring book, I took a break for lunch away from my desk. But now, before jumping right back into work mode, I want to take a moment to swap out my Halloween decorations for some winter ones. I know it's technically fall and that I could leave my pumpkins out for a bit longer, but right after Halloween, I'm already in the mood for the holiday season because I really love this time of the year from Thanksgiving to New Year's. I love creating a cozy, festive atmosphere, so I'm just gonna go ahead and make the switch now. I keep a box with my holiday decorations from previous years that I like to set up around my desk. But this year, I also picked up a few new items from Target to add to my growing collection. The new things that I picked up were just too cute to pass up, especially these little Target birds, which I'm sure many of you have seen. They are so adorable, and I can't wait to enjoy seeing them on my desk throughout the rest of the season. I really love my desk space, and I love that it's filled with trinkets and toys that I've collected over the years. They really do make me feel so happy and inspired, really, even though I know some people prefer a more minimal setup. But for me, a desk full of colorful, joyful items just really sparks my creativity, and honestly, it keeps me inspired. Now, for the last major task of the day, I'm going to create this month's digital wallpapers. Over a year ago, I started releasing digital wallpapers as a thank you to everyone who signed up for my newsletter. And now I also share them on my Patreon. It's free for anyone who joins either one of those, and I really enjoyed creating a new design every month. Here are the designs that I've created for this month. There are both portrait and landscape versions, so they can work for any of your devices. And they also match this month's physical rewards for my Patreon members, which, if you like to receive the physical goodies in the mail, you can join anytime before November 30th. And of course, a big thank you to everyone who's already joined my Patreon. Your support means so much to me, and I am so grateful to have you along on my journey. And to wrap up my workday, I like to review my planner just as I did at the start of the day. I check if I managed to complete everything that I had set out to do, and I like to add any unfinished tasks immediately to tomorrow's list. I also like to spend a bit of time journaling to recap my day, which I think was a fairly good day, so it's a nice, relaxing way to unwind and start easing into the evening. And so I had so much fun bringing you along to work with me today. It wasn't really a hectic day, but I do feel productive and I do feel like we got things accomplished. Not every day is kind of like a rush and isn't always back-to-back things that I have to do, but this is just a glimpse into one of many different types of days that I have running my small business from home. So thank you for joining me. I hope you were able to get a little creative or maybe check off some of your own tasks while you were watching. But most importantly, I hope that you had fun. I truly appreciate your time and support, and I'm so grateful to have you here. A special thank you again to my patrons for your continued love and support. And here's one last look at this month's Patreon rewards in case you'd like to join. Thank you for watching today, and I hope that you have a creative rest of your day and week ahead, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!